I'm here today in 33 Oldham Street, Manchester, and joined by Brian Gorman, author, actor, polymath, all round good man.
And polymath.
Nigel Carr, the co-producer of the play New Dawn Fades, a play about Joy Division and Manchester, to give it its full title.
That's correct, that's the full title.
Could you explain? I've seen the play before, must have started that last year at the Royal Northern. I thought it was fabulous. Why the new production?
Well, basically, ever since we started in 2013 at the Greater Manchester Fringe Festival, we played to a room of 30 people, but in that room, where it all started, Rowetta was there, John Robb, who is Nigel's business partner at Louder Than War website, and basically for 10 years we've got to bigger and bigger venues, culminating last year with the Royal Northern College of Music. Most of the time we sell out, and most of the time we have standing ovations, which is very nice. On the odd occasion we haven't, I always think, what's wrong with you? You know? But yeah, so it's gone really, really well. But up until last year, I was really co-producing it with another guy, and we were always struggling because, you know, we're mere artists. And I've always wanted to push it further, so I suggested that we find a producer or two producers who have got the business knowledge, the acumen, the professionalism and the contacts and the resources to push this further, and that is what we're doing now. We've got a whole new cast, crew, director, everything's new. I'm the last man standing. I haven't acted in it before, I've just written and co-produced, but now I'm actually acting in it, which is quite terrifying. And this is a very long answer to your question, isn't it? What was the question?
What are the new cast?
What are the new cast?
Why the new cast?
Why the new cast?
Is that...
Well, we've found them in the park, just idling around, and thought better give them something to do. Why the new cast? Well, basically, the cast has changed over the years. When we first cast it, we wanted a pretty young cast who looked youthful, because Joy Division were only in the very early 20s. And in the play, sometimes you see them younger. And over 10 years, the cast has gradually grown older, and of course, some people are not available for the next tour, so the cast has always changed gradually. And with the new producer coming in, we've decided to go the whole hog and just start everything brand new, building on what's gone before. You know, we've had audiences coming back again and again to see us. There's a guy in town today, our mutual friend Phil Painter, who lives in Germany. He's been to see the show several times over the years, and he's coming back again. So we've got a built-in audience, and again, we cast around. Some of the actors we've got now are based in London, and some are having to travel up, so they're pretty dedicated. And it's great to be able to present a whole new cast to the audiences that have already seen it 2 or 3 times.
Nigel, your role, co-producer, what would that entail? Have you seen the production before, I assume?
I've seen the production a couple of times. The first time was in 2015. Brian and I have known each other for probably 8 or 10 years. My history, I loved Joy Division when I was a kid. I saw them a couple of times, Altrincham, The Factory, Bowden Social Club. So I've always had a strong affiliation with the band, always loved the music. And the association came because I saw the play, I thought it was amazing. It sends shivers down your spine. It's beautifully written, Brian. In lovely short chunks, bursts of energy. And those bursts of energy propel this play along, and it's gone in a flash. You know, the first half is 40 minutes, the second half is 30 minutes, there's a short interval, but the power that is shoved through each scene is quite phenomenal. So when Brian approached Tony, and then Tony thought, well, I can't do this on my own, I'd rather have a co-producer.
Tony Davidson.
So Tony Davidson came to me and said, Nigel, are you interested in this? So it was Tony that was approached by Brian initially, although me and Brian had conversations about 5 years ago about me funding and helping with the production of the play. And so Tony came to me, sat in my office, what do you think, Nigel? Why don't we go in and do this together? Now, I run Louder Than War with John Robb, so we have a lot of contacts in PR and press and etc., as well as knowing a lot of bands you know, venues and things like that. I also run a digital marketing company, which kind of helps when you're trying to push something like this. And so we're just hammering it through social media. We're getting press involved. We're doing everything necessary to push the play out to the masses to get the people to come. And so it feels incredibly natural. And there's been lots of serendipitous moments, haven't we, Brian, where we were casting around for venues and we knew we wanted to do it in October. We knew we wanted to do it in the middle of October. The Royal Northern College of Music said, well, actually, we can't do those dates, but we can do the earlier dates or much later dates. And then suddenly, bang, 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 Sheffield on the 10th, Bury on the 11th, Bury on the 12th, Royal Northern College of Music on the 13th.
Ordained.
And it just goes Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, ping. And it's almost like it was kind of heaven sent. It came together in this serendipitous moment. And there have been lots of moments like that in the play, also choosing the actors, how they came together, how we lost one actor and then replaced it with another one. Everything's kind of fallen in and the actors are incredibly enthusiastic about the play.
Why do you think Joy Division is still relevant today? After,
I think there's been a big resurgence. There is this kind of reflected energy where people look back and think Joy Division were bigger than they were. But you and I know, because you told me earlier that you turned them down at one point when they were Warsaw. And I saw them in the day, that when I saw them at check-in in Altrincham, there were 30 or 40 people there. And even when I saw them at the factory in Manchester, and it was like April 1980, a month before Ian died, there weren't that many people there. You know, they weren't a big band. Okay, they supported Buzzcocks at the Apollo, but they weren't a headline band. And I think what's happened in the past probably 7 years is that there's been a big resurgence in post-punk. And so you've got bands like Ist Ist, which they'll hate me for mentioning them, but the lead singer does sing with a deep baritone voice and they have that bass heavy post-punk sound. You and I know that post-punk is something that was only invented in the past 20 years to describe what went on in 1979 with Wire and maybe Bauhaus and Joy Division. So I think that the time is right. One, because Joy Division, there's a lot surrounding Joy Division, various books and Peter Hook touring with The Light, doing all the Joy Division sets. So there's a lot going on surrounding the band. New Order are doing a new tour, a huge new arena tour. And then you've got that kind of reflection that the sound that is big now, even looking at bands like Loose Articles, or, you know, they've got that fall Joy Division kind of vibe to them as well, you know. And I think that's probably why.
I suppose the short answer is that they sound good and quality lasts, doesn't it? You know, you could have something in the 1930s that still lasts.
Have you seen the production?
Sorry?
Has Barney or Hooky seen any of the productions?
Hooky,
or A Blessing?
Hooky was coming in on the very first night of the very first show, which was going to be terrifying. And we'd arranged to sneak him in the back of the Lasso Gallery and get him a seat at the back so he wouldn't be hassled. But there was only 30 seats in there anyway. But the band, his band, The Light, just at the last minute, had some dates abroad that they had to do. It's been rumoured that various members and various relatives and crew have seen it. There's a lot of people that I've met in the bar after the show, every time we've performed it, who've had connections. There was a guy called, is it John Scott?
I know John Scott,
who wrote a lot of stuff with C.P. Lee. And various relatives of the band. I think professionally the band have to keep a kind of semi-distance, simply because
not touching from a distance.
Simply because, you know, they're so big and established that they have to be careful business-wise. I mean, you know, if this was a show about, I don't know, the Rolling Stones, you know, we probably wouldn't get near to using any of the music or lyrics or anything. But the great thing about Joy Division is that they're still pretty much a cult band, even though when they went on to be New Order, they became massive. As ever, because I'm playing Tony Wilson, I am waffling.
No, of course, I was going to say.
I waffle so long, I forget the question. Why? Yes, because the records sound great. I mean, I went to see a Joy Division tribute band last night. It was brilliant, called Transmission at the Salty Dog in Winsford. And every song is like a classic. virtually every song, and the crowd last night was just going wild, and
It is
it
now.
hasn't dated.
It is
Not
now,
then.
yeah, but back
Not
then,
then, yeah.
you couldn't get arrested.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
couldn't get anybody to go with me
of course.
to the
Yeah.
factory. I would jump in my dad had this little van, he was a greengrocer. I jumped in the van, I went round to my brother's house, went round to do you want to come and see Joy Division? No. The shit. I went, oh, okay, well I like it.
Apologies for swearing, ladies and gentlemen. I never swear, he swears all the time.
How are ticket sales going?
Ticket sales are going amazingly. So we've sold we're close to selling out at Bury. I think we've sold 75, 80%, something like that. The lowest at the moment is Sheffield, and we understand that. So we're going to do a bit more of a campaign over there. We think that Manchester will sell out as well.
Royal Northern.
The Royal Northern College of
What
Music.
dates is that?
That's on the 13th and the 14th of October. And Bury is on the 11th and the 12th, and Sheffield is on the 10th. So the 10th is the first one. Obviously, it's a slightly more difficult sale over in Sheffield, but, you know, these are venues, these are music venues, you know, the Bury Met and Sheffield Leadmill, these are music venues, and they're being seated for the play, whereas Royal Northern College.
Tickets available through your website?
Tickets available through newdawnfades.co.uk. And from the individual venues as well. So you can go to their websites, but there's a place on our website, it's on the homepage, but also on events, and you can go there and you can click and book the tickets through there. Yeah.
Before we go, Brian, you've got to do the Anthony H. Wilson impersonation.
This is like when you're in the back of a taxi, and if somebody says you're a comedian, tell us a joke.
He asked me to ask this question.
I didn't ask you to ask this question.
Did he bribe you before? I didn't realise.
Bribe, I've heard.
Brian? Welcome to Granada Reports. I'm Anthony Wilson, otherwise known as Anthony H. Wilson. I'm here with Tony Flynn, well-known local character on the burlesque scene. His stage name is Gloria. I haven't seen the show, but I believe it's very affecting, isn't it?
It's a body
This is
ripper.
Nigel Carr, known as Used Car to his friends. I am, of course, improvising. I have no idea what I'm saying. We'll be back. The weather.
Hi, I'm Lauren Greenwood, and I'm playing Debbie Curtis in New Dawn Fades.
Hello, I'm Josh Glenister, and I'm playing Ian Curtis in New Dawn Fades.
I'll be prepared for the role.
Have I prepared? How? Actually, prior to doing the audition, I didn't know that much about Joy Division, so I just spent a load of time reading, watching, listening to all sorts of stuff, both about the band, about Manchester at the time, and just, yeah, there's not an awful lot on Ian vocally and recordings of him. You've got a couple of the songs, but I just kind of watched them on repeat, bought a couple of vinyls from the shop down the road and listened to them on repeat as well. That's pretty much been it.
And it's yourself, young lady.
Yeah, so it was a bit more difficult because there wasn't as much. Obviously, you know, there was even less for you, so there was hardly anything for Debbie. But yeah, I just did some kind of research online first. She's obviously written a book, so reading through that at the moment. And yeah, just articles and things like that, just about her experience. So yeah, just lots of different research and things like that. And obviously talking to Brian and his experience of other people playing the part as well. So yeah.
Ian, are you in any way musical? Do you play an instrument? Or?
I do not. Fortunately, neither did Ian Curtis, so I could get away with that.
Guitar on.
He did, but that was famously Barney taught him those chords only for that music video. Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't realise he did. I always was told that Barney was the one who taught him how to play it for that particular video. Yeah.
Well, you won't be playing on stage, will you? You'll just be doing
No. I'll just be singing songs. I'm in no way a musical.
I'm Gaz Hayden, and I'm playing Peter Hook in New Dawn Fades.
And I'm Jamie Jones. I'm playing Bernard's son.
Barney.
Yeah.
But you don't like that?
He doesn't like being called Barney, apparently. He's reading the Hook book.
The Hook book?
Hooky.
I'm reading the Peter Hook biography. Well, not biography, but it's more about like sort of his point of view from when he was in Joy Division, prior Joy Division, and then going up all the way to New Order. So I just read somewhere that Barney doesn't like to be called Barney. So naturally, book. He just keeps calling him Barney. I don't know how that makes him feel,
Yeah.
but it's a good little.
To the point, how were you boys prepared for the roles?
You go ahead.
Just a lot of grainy VHS YouTube videos, really. I don't want to do like an impersonation. I just want to get the spirit of the character, really. So yeah, and also I was from Salford, so that helps.
Good
Me
lad,
being from
yeah.
Salford. What about yourself, guys?
Same. I mean, we're lucky enough to find YouTube clips, just like of them more or less just talking about what it was like back in the day. So just hearing about what it was like back then from their points of view, and then obviously reading books, and then that's like probably the core research that I'm sort of taking on, and then after that it's just sort of putting our own personalities and experiences into the script and the character, and sort of like making it our own in a way, but
Do
using.
you play instruments yourselves?
I do.
Musical? Do you?
I can play the spoon. But yeah, that's about it.
What about on stage? You're not playing?
So at the moment we're using air guitars.
Right.
So there's a lot of, I want to get it right, because if there's any musical purists in the crowd, then I don't want to disappoint them. So
I love how you say using air guitars as if they actually like exist.
well, they do exist in our minds, which is very important as an actor to envision something. Yes.
Yeah, it is air guitar and that kind of thing, but
Invisible guitar.
invisible guitars and bass. But I've been playing music since I was 12. I'm actually a guitarist and now I'm a bassist. So
So you're going to channel the energies of Peter Rock and banish some into your productions then?
yeah, absolutely. Like I think the bass neck is probably a lot longer, so I'm gonna have to figure out all that kind of stuff. But I think once we put instruments on us, then it should sort of like give us that muscle memory as to like what it's like to actually
Do
play.
my hands go here? Or,
Yeah.
it's like,
You're looking forward to the show?
you very much so, yeah. You?
Yeah, of course. I got two people interviewing me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It's nice to be. I live in London, and I've been living in London for like the last 10 years. So it's nice to be back in the homeland. It's quite an important show, I think. Obviously with the icons like Ian Curtis or Joy Division, Manchester, telling that story, but also just sort of hitting home the themes of mental health and all these other things, especially in like young people back then, and what it was like back then for people to cope with these kind of like problems, because they weren't very much talked about at that time. But also just that's what I'm excited to sort of like tell for the audiences to hopefully get from it. So they'll get the whole Joy Division thing, but obviously we want the message to be there.
Well, I'll be there on the Manchester evenings at the Royal Northern. I'll see you there hopefully. And break a leg, as I just said to the others. So
We'll
enjoy
definitely be there. We'll be like, if we don't turn up, we'll have to stop the show.
Hi, I'm Joshua Chadwick, and I'm playing Rob Gretton amongst a whole other of supporting characters.
And I'm Nicholas Eccles. I play Martin Hannett amongst all different characters. Yeah.
It's a stock question. How have you rehearsed for the role? Have you looked into Hannett's life and Gretton's?
Yeah, so I spent. I like to get early doors in rehearsals and try and get as much prepping as possible, and about movements and how they spoke and just sort of who they were and the persona and the characteristics, and obviously not try and create an impersonation, but make sure that that spirit's there and the energy's there and everything like that. And I think especially for us two, we've obviously got more than just one character to think about, so it was like researching all these other characters and who they are and separating them out, and how to obviously when we get up on stage to make sure it's not one character all the way through, so the audience recognises when I'm Rob Gretton amongst the others and you Martin Hannett.
Yeah. Like Josh said as well. See, I told you about my diction. Certain characters we don't have any reference for as well. There's Derek Branwood. I don't think there's any YouTube videos with him speaking that I could find anyway. So it's basically trying to find a different character to obviously Hannett and Paul Morley. Paul Morley, fine, because he's on YouTube. So that's pretty much it. Yeah.
So theoretically, you'll just be swearing a lot. And you'll be,
Yeah.
you'll be smoking a lot of dope and swearing a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, we can't say any lines right now because there's every other is
Yeah, I've enjoyed using a lot of colourful language
Yeah.
so far in rehearsals, and it's great. And I'm channeling the inner Rob Gretton and swearing a lot. It's great.
Lots of smoking.
Lots of
for both of
smoking,
us.
lots of smoking, lots of swearing.
Yeah.
I can go home, rehearse in my room, and just shout expletives, and people think I'm just having a row with the missus, but I'm not. But it's great.
Neighbours think you're going crazy.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.